As morning approached and the sun began to show its rays on the eastern horizon, I prepared to go to the rice fields. The morning air still felt cool, a gentle breeze blew softly, carrying the scent of wet soil and dewy grass. The sky looked bright with a few wisps of white clouds floating slowly. My steps followed the path flanked by green expanses of rice plants that were starting to grow well. From a distance, the sound of a tractor engine could be heard roaring, breaking the silence of the morning. I quickened my steps, curious to see who was working in the rice fields this morning. When I reached the edge of the rice fields, my eyes fell on a farmer who was plowing the fields using a tractor. His clothes were simple, a long-sleeved shirt and trousers that looked worn, probably because they were worn often to work. A wide-brimmed hat protected his face from the sun that was starting to rise. His hands deftly controlled the tractor's steering wheel, while the large iron wheels at the back spun, gripping the soil that was still wet from irrigation water. The tractor moved slowly but surely, turning the previously compacted soil into loose soil ready for replanting. Water mixed with mud splashed here and there as the sharp iron blades chopped the soil. Small birds flew low, occasionally perching on the newly plowed soil, looking for worms and insects that had come to the surface. I stood for a moment, observing how hard the farmer worked. Although modernization has entered the world of agriculture with the presence of tractors, this work still requires skill and energy. If in the past farmers plowed the fields with the power of cows or buffaloes, now they are more assisted by machines. However, their spirit and perseverance remain the same, working hard to ensure that the rice can grow well and produce an abundant harvest. I smiled a little, feeling amazed by the dedication of the farmers who tirelessly cultivate the land for the lives of many people. I continued my steps towards the rice field I was headed for, while the sound of the tractor continued to rumble behind me, as if it were a morning song in the middle of the vast expanse of rice fields. As I stood on the edge of the rice field, watching the farmer plowing with his tractor, my gaze fell on a flock of white birds that began to arrive. They were egrets, with slender bodies, long curved necks, and pure white feathers that stood out in stark contrast to the muddy brown soil of the rice field. The birds came one by one, then more and more, as if they knew that the soil turned over by the tractor plow would bring them good luck. Nimbly, they walked among the puddles, their long, sharp beaks occasionally piercing the mud, looking for worms, insects, or other small animals that surfaced. I watched how the birds moved gracefully, sometimes flying low to change places, then coming back down and continuing their hunt. The farmer who was driving the tractor seemed accustomed to their presence, not bothered in the slightest. In fact, it seemed that he considered the egrets as loyal friends who always appeared every time the rice field was plowed. The atmosphere of the rice field this morning felt even more alive. The rumbling sound of the tractor engine combined with the chirping of birds from a distance, plus the sound of water and mud splashing as the plow continued to split the soil. I stood longer, enjoying the view, a harmony between humans, nature, and tiny creatures that depend on each other in the cycle of life. Plowing the rice fields is not just a routine, but an important process that determines soil fertility. When the soil is turned over and cultivated, the remains of previous plants will decompose into humus, enriching the nutrients needed by the rice plants. In addition, plowing also helps control weeds and pests that may still be hiding in the soil, so that rice growth can be more optimal later. After the land is plowed, the next step is to level it using a harrow, a traditional tool that functions to perfect the soil texture so that rice seeds can be planted more evenly. Farmers work patiently, ensuring that every inch of rice field is ready to receive rice seedlings that will later grow into green plants that sway in the wind. This process is part of the long cycle of agriculture that has become the backbone of many rural communities. With hard work and perseverance, farmers hope that the rice fields they work will produce an abundant harvest, meeting the food needs of their families and the wider community. Behind every grain of rice that we eat, there is the sweat and dedication of farmers who tirelessly cultivate the land for a better future. Because I also want to go to the rice fields, I won't stay here for long. At least my curiosity about the sound of the tractor has been answered. It turns out that it is indeed fun to see it, so beautiful, plus the egrets that also come down to the rice fields. So that's a short video about the beauty of my village. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.